All right, so hello and welcome to the BillTrack50 new user orientation webinar. So what I've got on my screen is the BillTrack50 homepage. If you haven't signed up for your free account yet, you can just click the Get Started button, and that'll take you to this tiny little form. That's all you have to fill out, and then you're in. So it's a genuinely free account. You don't need to give us a credit card or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to log in on my demo account. So this is what you get after you are a paid user. If you log in and you've just got the free account, you're going to have a button that says start a free trial or a button that says just start a search. And so we will look at what both of those do. Starting a free search, you can always do that using either the free search button if you don't have any saved searches, which is what these are, or you can just come up here and use this search box. So I'm going to do a search, how about minimum wage? Okay. And so that takes me to this screen, which is my quick search screen. And you are welcome to use this search all you like and read all the bills you like, whether or not you're a subscriber or whatever state you've subscribed to, you're still welcome to search and read bills from any other state as well. So this is absolutely available to you. As much as you need it. So I have put in minimum wage. I put it in quotes because it's a phrase. You can also put in, I'm going to put in living wage as well. Notice I just put a space in between, not a comma. And then I'm going to switch this to any of and say that, you know what, either one of these phrases is good enough to make the bill interesting to me. And then I've got my results down here. Now I can sort these if I would like to see what is got the newest action. I can sort these by state if I want to look at them that way. And of course I can read any bill that I want to. So let's go in and read this Florida bill called minimum wage. All right, so once you've clicked on a bill, you will get what we call our bill detail. So this first tab is just the basics about the bill, along with a little graphic to show you the progress. The bill text itself, so you can kind of go through here and see what it says. If there have been amendments, you'll have all of the versions of the bill stacked up here. We'll always show you the current one by default, but you can go back through time and look at old versions. You can even compare two versions if you like to see what changed. We'll highlight in red what was removed and in green what was added. The action history is just the steps that the bill has gone through so far. The vote history is great, but this is a brand new bill, so it hasn't been voted on yet. I might go back and try to show you a vote history later. And then the Associated Documents tab takes you to the state legislature website. So we'll have one marked state bill page, which will just drop you into the state legislature on this bill, so you can start doing additional research. But if we've got other notes, that other documents they've posted, we'll have links to them. So usually we'll have the official bill PDF, and then we might have some other information they've posted as well, vote tallies or fiscal notes or whatever. Before I get to the legislator, Michael, any comments about how you use this bill when you're reading a bill? Any tips or tricks?
Just interesting to note that in the bill text, if there's blue squares or purple squares, that's existing law, and if it's white, it's usually new law. That's not true in every state. It just depends on how we parse it. But if the blue is always existing law.
That is totally true. Thank you, Michael. So we have tried to make the states look as much the same as we can. So mostly all of the states will look similar. And as Michael pointed out, if it is inset here in this kind of blue-gray color, that means it is an existing law that they are changing. So the underlined is words they are adding, and the cross-out is words they are removing. So you can see this bill, they're changing it to move it forward. Okay. So that helps you read it and figure out exactly what it's doing. So this section down here isn't changing. That's all the same as it ever was. It's just these things that they're changing. And as Michael said, if we get one that is proposing whole new laws, we'll just take a random swing. Oh, that's still just modifying stuff. It'll just be out in the white out here, and it'll just show here's a whole new section that they're going to add. So it's not a modification of existing law, it's new language that they want to add. So that's how that works. Thank you, Michael. Very good comment. All right, so that's the bill. You can also click on legislators. So when you're looking at a vote history, you'll have all of the legislators listed. Also, we'll list out the sponsors for you. If they have an asterisk, it means it's the sponsor. Everybody else is co-sponsors. So I'm going to click here on Senator Lightford. So this is the information that we know. If there's Facebook or Twitter, we'll generally be able to give that to you, along with the official site, maybe a campaign site, whatever email addresses we know. And then all of the bills that she has sponsored so far, the votes she had made so far, her staff, and a little bio about her. And again, all of the state people and all of the federal people all will look exactly like this. So once you get used to it, you can really kind of flip through and find what you need very quickly, because everything is formatted just the same no matter what state it is. All right, I'm going to go actually back to her votes and pick this one. So I think this is the rules, but I wanted to show you what the votes will look like. So they all pretty much all said that they would vote to adopt the rules, but this will break out yeses and nos by party to give you a good visual for like what went down and who voted yes and who voted no, along with the entire full roll call. So you can see exactly who did what, and then of course you can click on anybody that voted the wrong way and go see their info and tweet at them, whatever you want to do, or tweet yay for voting yes, whatever it is. All right, Michael, any comments about legislators?
I use legislators a lot when I'm visiting a capital. I can look somebody up before I'm going in to visit, and read up on their recent votes. I can read a quick bio, their staff. It's a great tool when you're in the capital on the go and meeting legislators.
Yeah, and mentioning that when you're on the go, this little search box is actually really useful when you're on your phone or on your iPad. You can switch it to legislator and just type in someone's last name and get to this page. Or you can type in a bill number and get right to the bill. So when you're on your phone, just come to BillTrack50 from your browser, and this box will be a great way for you to get right to what you want to use. So good tip, Michael, the on the go, because you kind of are on the go, aren't you? All right, so I'm going to close those up. So here I am back on my main search. Now, if I decide that I would like to save this search, that's what this save as a bill sheet means. So that's where you switch over, and then you have to pay or become a subscriber to be able to save a search. So for free, you're welcome to search for all the bills you want, click and read all the bills you want, and also search for and use all of the legislator information you'd like. So once you save a search, let me show you that. We'll go back to my example. So here's ones that I've got saved from the past. So let's go into this agriculture one here as an example. Okay, so here's some different bills I had about agriculture, and I've even put in some of my opinion about whether I thought they were good or bad. Let me put in one of these. Voter identification in agriculture. I think that we can trust livestock. Why wouldn't we trust livestock? Okay, so we'll go ahead and put that in there, and you can add, these are the standard columns. Once you've saved a search, you get all this information, but you can add and remove columns. We've got lots of ones that we populate for you to choose from, and we also let you add as many of your own columns as you need to put in your own comments. So we've got some standard ones like putting in your position, but you can also create free-form columns to put in whatever other information you need, or even create your own drop-down lists if you're just trying to put things in a category. Once you've saved your search, we give you a bunch more search options for narrowing and fine-tuning your search. So, for example, I'm saying this bill has to have agriculture and pesticides, and I have an asterisk here because that's a wild card. So agriculture, agricultural, any ending will work with that, so that's how you deal with plurals and things like that. And then I'm saying not just agriculture, it also has to mention feed, seed, hay, or this specific statute, then I'm interested, but not if it says motor vehicle. So that's how you can build out your query, and you can experiment, add words, see the results, add words. So you can keep expanding out the words you're using or narrowing it down depending on if your results look like they're enough or too much or what. You can also enter bills just by bill number. If you have a bill you want to go on here, you can narrow it down to just specific legislators. So if you just want to track what one person introduces, no problem, put that in and off you go. Once you've got this, you can set up alerts to get emails when something happens. So we check all of the state legislatures each evening, figure out what new bills have been introduced, what actions have happened, etc., and we'll send you an email in the morning telling you what happened. So you'll only ever get one email from us in the morning. So it doesn't matter how many searches you've set up or how many boxes you check, you're just getting that one big digest. And I've got an example. Let's see. So this is what you get mailed to you as an alert. So it'll be your different topics you've set up. So each one of these is a saved search, and then what's going on with it. So I see this is a new bill that got introduced. Down here I see this one had a new version, this one had an action, this one had a sponsor change, etc. So we just send you that little digest. You can click on a bill and read it right away. Michael, do you use the alerts very much?
I use the alerts all the time. It's a great way to get just a recap of bills that I'm following. One thing that I do tend to do is, if I'm tracking a lot of bills, is I'll create a high priority bill sheet and add bills to that. And so when I see that come up in my alert list, I know it's something that I might need to check right away, as opposed
that
to
is such a good idea.
later in the day.
I love that. So if you put a plus or a whatever in front of the name, then it'll be the very first thing in your list up at the top, and then you can kind of see right away. Nice. I like that. So do you wind up using it on your phone, or like when you're in the train writing in, or?
I do both. So, I'll use it on my phone or my laptop, depending on where I am.
All right.
It all shows up very well on the phone or a tablet, so it's great not to always have to carry around my laptop.
Yeah. And then you can just click on the bill right from the email, read the bill. So that's okay. It's kind of hard to work with the bill sheets on your phone. That's not so great. And certainly setting up a bill sheet, not that great on your phone. You're better off on a pad or on your laptop. But just for reading bills or looking up bills by bill number, I find that it works okay. All right, on we go. So widgets are how you can share bills on your website. So once you've saved a search, you've got this box full of bills, and you can just throw them up on your website. We'll keep them updated. If you want to, you can show whether you support or oppose the bills, and that looks like this. So the green color is for support, and the red color is for oppose. You, of course, can explain those colors elsewise if you want to and use them to mean something else. But people will assume with no explanation that green is good and red is bad, so you can do that. You can also put a map. If you are looking at a bunch of bills all over the country, you can actually just use our map widget instead, drop that onto your website, and then we keep it updated, so as new bills get introduced, we'll add them automatically. And then when people come to your website, they can click and see the bills in their state. And we find that people who put these up get a lot of clicks, because you can't look at a country map and not click on your state. It's just physically impossible. It's like watching someone yawn. You're just going to do it. So that's the map. If you would like to make sure all of these bills are relevant before you share them in one of the widgets, you can go through and X out the bills that aren't important. That will take them out of your alerts, and that will also take them off of the widget. So you can curate your list before you post it. So also when you get the alerts, you can come and see if it's an important bill and remove it if it's not. So you have complete control over what you are tracking and what you are sharing. Michael, any comments about sharing before we move on?
Just that, if you're an advocacy organization, the more information you can get out to your members and stakeholders, the better off you are. Widgets are a great way to do that. And if you become a resource for your stakeholders and for legislators, legislators oftentimes, if you're meeting with people, will come and look and see what bills you're following. So having that information out and available, I think, is a very important advocacy tool.
It is nice to make yourself noticeable to legislators if you have an agenda. That's a good point. Okay, so moving on, the next thing I want to point out is this event schedule that I have turned on at the bottom. So this is another kind of alert. So if I turn that on, then I will have this event schedule tab up here on the main screen. That shows me when bills are coming up for hearing. So here I can see for the next 2 weeks, here's what's coming up. And of course, I can sort this and put it in state order or see when the next one is, put them in order. I can also export this out to Excel to take it with me, etc. So this just kind of gives you a 2-week look at what is scheduled to happen. If you have set up your bill alerts on actions, you will get a notice as soon as the hearing is scheduled. So we'll tell you that right away. But this is just to remind you what's coming up in the short term to help you maybe plan a little bit. Michael, I imagine you try to use this for planning.
I use it for planning. You know, to have a screen where I can do a quick look and see, hey, I have bills in 3 states in one day, helps me to prioritize where I need to be and helps, you know, where I need to mobilize advocates who, you know, are where I can't be.
Oh, I was just going to say, how do you get to 3 states in a day? You guys back east. It's crazy.
I've done it once, but I hope never to have to do it again.
Fair enough. I hope so too. All right, so we gave you a little look at how you can share bills with the widget or with the map. You can also share the entire grid if you want to. So that's an option. If you do that, you can put in all your comments. Your readers will be able to click on bills. They'll be able to sort and all of that. So that's available. Just like we give you the bills for free, anybody looking at your website can click on a bill and read it for free with no login, no friction at all. Boom, they're just informed. They can go to the legislator and tweet at them or whatever it is that you're hoping they'll do. You can even put a column to explain what you're hoping they'll do, which can have links in it to other materials. All right. Another thing that we can do for you, and Michael, you know I'm going to have questions on this. So you can take some bills, and I showed you could say whether you support or oppose them. If you do that, like I did one for this podcast I listened to called Congressional Dish that I like really well. So I went through and listened to which bills that the podcast person, Jennifer Briney, said that she liked the bills or didn't like the bills. And I just pulled out that handful of bills that she talked about, and I gave them a rating based on how much I thought she liked or didn't like them. So this one I gave a 5. She was all for justice for victims of trafficking. And then some of these had a negative score, meaning she wasn't so fond of those bills. So once you set that up, we will add together how everybody voted on every single bill and show you who's voting the right way and who's voting the wrong way. Okay? So we don't know if bills are good or bad. You have to enter in that information, either picking support or oppose or actually giving it a number and fine-tuning it more than just support or oppose. But then you can see exactly who's on which side. And you can click on a specific person and see, so Representative Johnson here, here's her total score, but here's how she voted on each one of the bills that you said was important. So this can be a nice way to very quickly remind yourself before you go meet with Representative Johnson or call Representative Johnson what her votes were across the board. So you remember where she supported you and where she opposed you before you make that call. This can be either private just to you, or you can make this public. So I made this one public to share it with other Congressional Dish listeners, but you can keep it private so you only inform yourself. All right, so once you've got that set up, you can see which party is supporting your agenda, and then each one of these lines is a person, so you can kind of go through and see who these different people are. And then you can see by district, and this takes a second because it's all the districts in the United States. There we go. and how they voted, and then also how the Senate voted. If you're in a state, we give you the state districts instead, and then, so just the map of the state and how those districts voted. Michael, can anybody use a scorecard, or are you going to run afoul of tax laws and nonprofit limits?
Yes, that's a question I get all the time. Any advocacy organization can um, advocate on bills and on issues. Uh, there's spending limits. I believe it's 10% of your total budget, but you're always free to take a stand on issues. Where the line is drawn is when you get into party politics and election politics. And so, I tell clients, make sure you're dealing with issues and not people, bills and not candidates. So stay away from candidates and elections and stick with current legislation.
Okay.
You can hint, by putting a scorecard out there, you can hint to who you would want in an election, but you're not specifically stating it. So you're still well within your legal limit there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Um, okay, so that's scorecards. And then finally, you can also search for regulations. I hope you don't have to, because they're a nightmare, but it's the same exact deal. So you put in a search, and then here's hydraulic fracturing regulations that have been proposed recently. Same search screen, you put in, what you want it to have. You can limit it by when the regulation was proposed, and then we will just email you when new regulations are proposed, or when they show back up in the register because they've closed the comment. Michael, do you want to actually say that again using the correct words and terminology?
Regulations are odd because most states their legislative process is pretty much the same. It goes from one house committee vote onto the executive. Regulatory is a little more scattered, definitely not timely. I've followed regulations that took over 2.5 years from beginning to end. So it is a little more difficult. But that said, being able to do a keyword search on regulations makes it far more user-friendly than any other process that I've used. So.
But still not good. So if you have to do this, I'm sorry. So what I just did was click on one of them, and then this is the regulation in question. So now I can read this. I can download this entire document if I want to send it to somebody. And what this document is the bulletin that the state puts out. Usually it's a Secretary of State, but different states are different. And so this is what we're sending you. We're just letting you know what page has your word, and then highlighting the word to help you read it and find it more quickly. Unfortunately, we don't have quite all of the states. If you look up under our product list and go to regulations, this is a map of where we have coverage. So red is the states we have, and then the states that are missing here are the ones we don't have coverage for, which is Alaska, Georgia, Hawaii, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and Vermont. So if one of those are urgent, you can let us know. Otherwise, we're just sort of adding them as we can get it figured out. The next one we're working on in Massachusetts, and then we'll see what happens. So, all right. So that is BillTrack50, kind of top to bottom, and all of the basics, and how you write a search, and how you read a bill, and how you use the search box, especially if you're on the go. Michael, anything you think I missed?
I think we hit everything.
All right. Any questions from the people listening? Any bills you want to try to find? Anything I can do for you? Alrighty then. Well, thank you for attending. I hope it was useful to you. And hopefully you find BillTrack50 to be a valuable way for you to kind of keep your government accountable. Thanks, everybody.